So, the first article from the newsletter discusses the idea of slow content. Now, this is something really interesting because it's almost the antithesis of what we did several times here at the Attention Seeker. Like, when we used to do the whole... Like, Joni for a while used to post 50 TikToks a week. Every week for like a good maybe solid 3 months.
Pumping them out.
Insane
We
numbers.
were seeing the content about like her needing to make like 10 more that day.
Yeah.
That's just insane.
It would come to a Friday.
Yeah.
It would be like 4 p.m. and she needed like 13 TikToks to go.
Yeah.
We'd have like 5 interns. Everybody's like
50 a day is crazy. Did you say
No, 10 a day.
10 a day.
5, yeah. So
Right.
50 a week.
50 a week, yeah.
And even like more recently with the whole like water bucket challenge things that she's been doing.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yes. So you come from an advertising background, from an advertising agency, if I'm correct?
Paid. Yeah, we did all sorts.
Yeah.
But, my specialty was definitely paid. I mean, like, I've obviously honed that out now. But, yeah, definitely got deep expertise in the paid side.
What's your take on quality versus quantity when it comes to content? Just organic and then paid.
So the really funny thing is, I like the idea of a slow content strategy from an organic perspective. It reminds me of like a good YouTube channel.
Okay.
You know, like,
Yeah,
you know, like
just
posting
post
up-
bangers.
yeah, like if your content, and I guess the kicker is like it actually has to be quality.
Yeah.
Slow content strategy doesn't mean like posting your same shitty post once a week instead of like every 3 days.
Yeah.
Like I think the thing there is like making an impact on the audience such that they actually remember you, and then it's worth coming back in there, and they miss you when you're gone. It's like the measure of a good brand. But for paid, because you do get creative fatigue quite quickly if you're spending a decent budget. I don't know if a slow content creative strategy for paid would work, but obviously not all brands are the same.
Yeah.
But if you're in e-commerce, for example, you just have to consistently test, and it doesn't mean that you're reinventing the wheel every week, but like message iteration, creative testing stuff.
Yeah.
Not only are you trying to fight fatigue, but you're trying to stay ahead of your competitors. This thing keeps vibrating. It's on the fucking thing I missed it.
Meeting started. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like over the last couple of years, there's been like a, not really in the New Zealand market, but globally, there's been an influx of, there'd be like time periods where a certain brand is pushing an ad so much that it becomes, that making fun of that ad takes a life on its own.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's ever intentional, but it'd be like, remember like when, bad example, but like when Raid Shadow Legends would like sponsor every YouTube video in the world. Like, that became a meme on its own.
Monday.com.
Yeah. What else? I'm trying to think. Like,
Monday.com
Manscaped?
just leaned into the no frequency cap thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've done really well in terms of their growth. I don't know what they're like. I haven't looked into, maybe they've done some articles about like their actual strategy.
Yep.
And their paid, what the actual paid spend must have looked like. But,
Yeah.
I think when you're doing, I don't know whether they're buying programmatically, or just doing it native and Google ads, but I guess that's pretty much similar, but they probably had the market pretty much cornered based on the amount of ads that I saw.
I think
I don't engage in a single one.
Yeah.
Because I don't want Monday. I was using a different tool.
Yeah.
At my old agency, Asana, that I really like. But do you just get them every time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an interesting fact in the article that said we think we see thousands of ads every day, but really the number is like 130, which is really interesting. And like, how many of these 130 do we really remember per day?
Who's tracking that?
I have no idea. I don't know who did the setting. I'll just go down.
I see articles post numbers like that. I'm like, okay, like show me like where this is coming
Yeah.
from. Like, I don't know. I mean, you certainly don't remember 130.
No.
You're only going to remember the ones that are emotionally priming you.
Yeah.
And even then, you probably won't recall, but it'll be subliminal.
Yeah.
But I think there's the slow content strategy is something that will become probably more important. If not the quantity reduction, at least the quality improvement.
Yep.
Because not only is now the current trend like, and you've seen the memes, as soon as you see memes or anything,
It's
you know that that's a very deep human truth that's hitting a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I like the memes always the canary in the coal mine for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like people are making memes now about every small business owner needing to be a content creator.
Yep.
That's going to create just content overload.
Yeah.
And then you just have this other thing coming, which is just like AI is getting better and better.
Yeah.
And like not only now are like it's easy to create content with the help of AI,
Yeah.
but soon you're just gonna be making content like AI is just making the whole damn
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And like people are like it's coming. Like the wave of content is coming, and like if you can't stand out in that market, like shit's gonna get wacky.
Yeah.
Like that's how stuff like Duolingo is like epic
Yeah.
strategy comes out of just the need to be
Yeah.
bold and different, and people are going to have to be more bold and different to still stand out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way to stand out. That's like the $1 million question, because we see so much content every day. Everybody sees so much content every day. A lot of it doesn't stick to the wall.
Yeah,
Almost, I want to say maybe 95% of it. Like, I'm a rare liker, like on TikTok and stuff, on YouTube. Like, it has to be a super impressive video for me to like hit like so I can go back to it in my like videos.
yeah,
And the other thing is that with the ad fatigue, like it's so many shitty ads out there right now, and so many repetitive ads of
some
the same thing.
intentionally shitty to stand out.
Yeah,
which is always hilarious.
but that's also a slippery slope, because sometimes I feel like the brand being self-aware almost sometimes comes off corny.
Yeah,
It's like, oh hey guys,
you
we're
gotta
like
understand your audience.
yeah. It was like kind of, I don't know if you remember, but you remember Morbius, the movie?
No,
Okay, basically it's this like Marvel movie that like
watch me the
Yeah.
hero.
it's like a Marvel movie that is part of the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah,
And in the trailer they teased like, oh, Spider-Man is in the movie, blah blah blah. The movie came out, it was absolute dog shit. Spider-Man was not part of the movie. It did horrible box office numbers, and it flopped so hard that memes started to arise from how shit it was.
Yeah.
That people were like, oh, me and the boys going to watch Morbius, blah blah blah.
yeah,
And then suddenly the box office numbers creeped up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the second the movie got on board with that, started making ads about, hey guys, we're cool again now, it just went back down.
killed it. They killed it.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
We're seeing how fast brands can just kill memes of like the Brat, like the Demure. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Like the memes now, like, God, that Demure thing was a really rough 2 weeks. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's like, like, I guess it's like also being selective about what ones you jump on. Like,
Yeah.
which of these trends are going to be short lived? Which of these are actually like tapping into something? Like,
Yeah.
what did Demure really tap into?
Yeah.
Like, Brat probably tapped into more like human truth than
Yeah.
I guess that's why it was a bit bigger than
Yeah.
Demure probably, but it was just like a funny like creator that
Yeah.
was engaging with some people.
Yeah. I think the other thing is that, like, with so much shitty ads being out there, it's I don't know if you'd agree with this, but in the article they say that to have an ad that sticks with people, you need to do one of three things. You need to inspire, educate, or entertain. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I've written that in Dix.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Yeah. I think that I would even take a step back. Like any client that comes into Taz, our role is to work on their brand positioning, work on their brand strategy. It might not be like a fully fleshed out brand strategy because that could take months and months, cost way too much money, but essentially we can put them in the market in a place where like they can play in the sandbox and stand out, and then like what's the message that really puts them there in the minds of the consumers, like a really simple mental model. And this isn't necessarily something you have to do every time, but like every market in the consumer, if you think about like one of the biggest drivers for someone making a decision, and you're thinking about like an X and Y axis, and like the obvious one is like price and quality, but there's like you can make it up for anything. Just think about like on this, like where we lie with our competitors, and then like cool, what puts you there. But then you need to add tone and personality and stuff, and then obviously on top of that you need to inspire, educate, entertain. Entertain is definitely the big one now on channels like TikTok. It's just like we watch it like TV.
Yeah.
And you sit there and hours and hours like they used to back in the day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content.
Yeah. Way too much. I wonder if it's like, is it the holy grail when you hit all three? If you educate, entertain, and inspire all in one piece of content? Is that like...
I don't think it works that way, but if you can nail all three, shit, must be a good piece of content.
Yeah.
You don't need, like, you could just have a really, really great educational piece of content. But I think you think about, like, a good speech or a good movie, like a really good or I don't know, this might be untrue. I'm not a big movie buff, but like I feel like even a really good drama movie, there's some like great comedic relief. I guess like the
Yeah.
term comedic relief, like
Yeah.
you gotta keep them engaged.
Yeah.
A good speech, you gotta throw in a couple jokes.
Yeah, and almost like when stuff is like really good, you don't have to have the intention to inspire, but by default, it inspires a lot of things. It inspires a lot of people to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the top 10 movies of all time inspired tons of other movie directors and
Yeah.
film people to.
Cars 2 especially.
Yeah. Cars 2, super underrated movie.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to talk about Cars 2.
Let's get into
Laura podcast.
Are they making a new one? Pretty sure they're making a new one.
Are they?
I don't know. Oh, was it Toy Story that was announced? I forgot.
They're not gonna go they're gonna go like Cars up to like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
They're just gonna go like Cars 2.
Yeah.
Like they would go off.
Squared.
Cars 3 and Cars 1 are not like Cars 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I should digress.
Yeah, I think with content, like with the whole slow strategy thing, it's so hard to execute because it's really hard to get people on board with the idea of having long-term gains. Especially like in this day and age, like people want 1 million followers, people want the numbers right now, tonight. People post a TikTok and flops, they're like fucking mad at themselves, mad at the world, but this is not how it works. This is really like as quick and as fast food this industry may seem, it's really a marathon, not a race.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see like great example of like a brand that like I don't know if you'd call it slow content strategy, but they definitely put a lot more effort. I think I would fit into this category. They put a lot more effort into their content than a lot of brands in their category. It's that Queensland Football Club, which has now been rebranded a Front Office.
Yeah.
Because like homie Ken Sakata, I think his name is. I might have mispronounced it. And sorry, Ken, if I did. But really, really stoked for you watching Beyond compilation. He'll come out on Instagram Reels and like just over deliver in terms of education, like the journey of his product and like, yeah, we're releasing a linen shirt. So what are we going to do? We're going to talk for 3 minutes about why linen is like the goat of all fibers and how like modern fibers suck and that's why modern clothes suck.
Yeah.
But anyway, we made a linen shirt. Oh my god, like this is like so interesting and cool. Like scratch and itch that many people didn't know they had, and I guess that's part of his niche, which is like people who are like actually interested in this stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like just like one last thing with this low strategy content is that if the quality hits or if the audience is engaged, it's better to go slower because now you have like a rabid audience that's waiting to eat up your next piece of content. Like I remember like I'm just thinking in the terms of like influencers or like YouTubers. When somebody gets like a really, really, really interesting series, part 1 is really good and then now people are waiting for part 2, part 3.
Yeah.
And sometimes it take them months to do that. And to have an audience engaged waiting months for another piece of content is really cool because if you flood the market with all the whole series, part 1, 2, 3 in 1 month, sure it's the topic of discussion for that month, but then there's no like you can't really stretch it up. It's almost like
Seth Godin like would have a great take on this because his whole thing is like permission marketing. You think about it as like a personal relationship. If you're making amazing content and maybe it's like, even if it's 2 minutes long, if you're creating a relationship with your core audience, can you expect them to come back for it every day?
Yeah.
Or is it like a weekly thing? Like, if you think that they're that engaged, that they'll come back and watch it every day, but like, you might be making like sandwich spread. Like, they're not going to watch the They're not that again. Like most of the day, people don't give a fuck about your brand.
Yeah.
You need to make them give a fuck. Yeah. So yeah, I always like thinking like, what would Seth think? Or like, what would like these other like early days of marketing.
Yeah.